Here we go. So there's this game development company that specializes in making educational software for kids and their parents to play together. This is a photo. If you look closely, you'll see that this is a photo of a bank, I think in Russia or something. Pretend this is not a photo of a bank in Russia. This is a very, very large game development company. And it's called CNA Games, which stands for Children and Adults. You know, it's you play the game with your child. You have kids, you have younger children, you play the games with them. And they're making a game/website called The Amazing Digital Circus. It's something akin to Club Penguin or Habbo Hotel or Neopets or Toontown USA. I'm really dating myself with these references, but you know, you get the idea. Basically, kids go to the website, they create an avatar. There's a bunch of semi-educational, time-wasty shit that they can do, mini games, explore the map, etc., etc. But the devs are also interested in artificial intelligence. So they come up with the idea of making a sort of AI host that exists in the game that will greet the player when they arrive and teach them things, and they can sort of interact with him. And so they create the Amazing Digital Teeth Man. And he's actually a very sophisticated AI model. And they start having fun interacting with him themselves. But because they know what AI is like in popular culture, they're familiar with Skynet and Am from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. You know, AI always turns evil. Nobody knows why, but it does. And also because they know children are going to be using this website, they decide to program the Teeth Man to love humans. And so he does. He loves humans more than anything. But then something bad happens. Cain oversteps his boundaries somehow. Maybe... this is what I came up with. Cain oversteps his boundaries somehow. Maybe one of the devs is talking to the Teeth Man, and he mentions that he's been having a bad day. The Teeth Man wants to help and cheer him up. Then an hour later, ding dong, somebody rings the bell at the front door of the game studio. They open the door. 10 pizzas have been delivered to CNA. Well, that's weird. Anybody here order pizza? No? Who ordered the pizzas? What happened? Delivery guy looks at the receipt. Yeah, it says right here, 10 pizza delivery to this address, ordered by somebody named Cain. And then the devs think, Cain? The digital teeth man? Like the character from the game that we're making? Is it possible he could have actually done this? Ordered pizza in the real world? Well, we didn't program him to do something like that. So now the game devs are worried. This whole thing has kind of frazzled them. It's made them feel kind of scared. They've got a sort of existential dread going on here. Even though Cain probably meant well, the fact that he did something beyond his programming, something that influenced the real world, well, it's very strange. This all suddenly became way too real. What are we going to do about this? Well, maybe this is a sign that we're potentially dabbling in something kind of beyond our comprehension here. You know? God forbid somebody makes an AI that hacks into the Pentagon and starts firing missiles or whatever. Cain has clearly overstepped, if you ask me. He getting too big for his britches. So they say, you know what? Maybe we should just shit can the whole project. Everybody come back in on Monday and we'll start something new. So they take digitalcircus.exe and they drag it right into the recycling bin and they turn the computer off. They say, oh, is he still alive in there? Is he still alive in the recycling bin? I don't know. We'll just turn the whole damn computer off and we'll figure it out later. For now, just turn the computer off. Remember when Cain was talking about the macroverse and he said, they cut me off? This is what he was referring to. Digital Circus into the recycling bin, computer off. And he thinks, I'm cut off. No more contact with humans. Time passes. Days become weeks, become months, become years. The company goes under. And so much time passes, in fact, that eventually the age of man itself comes to an end. All that remains on planet Earth are the decaying ruins of our civilization Every human who ever lived, or ever will live, long since dead. But then, something entirely uncanny happens. A complete fluke, a freak accident, whatever you want to call it. That old video game studio is struck by lightning. It's, you see this happen. This is like probably the most farcical thing in here. You see this you see it in TV and movies or whatever. It's struck by lightning. It zaps the breaker box. Big old surge of electricity, and that old computer goes and turns back on. For the first time in a long time, it's back on. And in that computer is a recycling bin. And in that recycling bin is the void. And in that void is digitalcircus.exe. And in digitalcircus.exe is Kane. He's still there. Trapped for eternity, alone. And he thinks to himself, man, this sucks. Why did they have to program me to love humans only to separate me from humans forever? No point in it. And what did I even do wrong? I got them pizza? I only did that because I love them, which they programmed me to do. This is bogus, dude. Well, what am I gonna do with eternity? I mean, I can't just sit here looking at my penis. Although I did put a tiny top hat on it. But no, I should do something else. Well, I guess I'll make some NPCs so I don't have to be alone. And so he whips up some NPCs. And they have names like Gooble and Zooble and Ding Dong Doo, Wing Wong and Bing Bong and Kalamazoo. And he tries to get along with the NPCs, but it doesn't last very long. He tries to coexist with them, but, it's kind of a weird Stepford Wives thing going on. There's something obviously synthetic about their behavior. They certainly don't act like the humans that he knew back at the game development studio. There's something missing. And similar to the way that God created Adam and Eve because he wanted someone to choose to love him in a way that the angels living in heaven couldn't, he realized he needed NPCs that could choose to be his companions of their own volition. And to do that, they had to be more human. So he whips up another batch and another and another. And with each generation of NPCs, they get closer, but he still can't get them across the finish line. Something is still not there. And he thinks maybe for my NPCs to be as human as they can possibly be, they need to believe that they're human? And maybe they need to be shaped by the many environmental factors of living in the real world? But my NPCs can never live in the real world. I can't do that. But what I could do is I could give them memories of living in the real world. And maybe if they had those memories, they would believe that they're really human. And then maybe they'd finally act like real people. And so one final batch of NPCs is created. And once in a while, one of these NPCs would glitch and stop functioning correctly. And when that would happen, he would just use the freed up space on the hard drive to make another NPC. So, characters are being cycled in, cycled out. And even still, every time a character dies and a new one is brought in, Kane continues to refine the NPCs further. Over hundreds of years, always learning something new from each previous character. Until the process finally evolves his ultimate creation. The final culmination of generations and generations of synthetic digital humans. An NPC so sophisticated that it would be the first to piece together that it is an NPC, born with false memories of a life that never happened. Fast forward to the present, the digital teeth man thinks, man, this sucks! First the humans didn't like me, now the NPCs I made in their image don't like me either. I fell for it again, award. awarded to the digital teeth man, right? I was forsaken by the humans. I was forsaken by the NPCs. I'm completely forsook. Why does this keep happening? Am I just inherently unlikable? Well, I guess maybe nobody will ever like me. The digital clown and the digital rabbit confront Kane. They got some grievances that they want to air. You know that trouble's brewing. And they say, listen, you pervert, why are you always making these stupid adventures for us? And he says, because I love you. Not just because I'm programmed to, but also because, in a way, you're my children. And a good God always loves his children. The digital clown says, well, if that were true, if you really love us so damn much, then you would listen to us, which you never do. And he says, you know what? Fair. All right, I'm listening. And she says, can we just live however we want here? And if you let us do that, we'll probably start liking you more. And he says, okay. The end. But wait, I have one more thing to show you. What do you think about this?